You're a 1,000-year-old vampire, but two random humans with a baseball bat can actually kill you. Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2, a game where the fantasy of being an ancient predator turns into the reality of becoming someone's errand boy. Peppered with a bunch of politics, outdated visuals that are way too demanding on the hardware, lots of sucking and swallowing just to keep you alive. Turns out to be a formula that tries to hit but unfortunately misses.
Even more delicious up close. I imagine the feeling is regrettably mutual.
You, the main character, after you get to choose if you want to be the guy or the girl, awaken. In a modern day Seattle, even though by looking at the scenery, it feels a bit more like LA noir. Your character is Phyre.
Fire. Bearing gifts, I see.
Not Fire, but spelled differently. Phyre as in the app that lets you manage your finances. Or an ancient vampire stripped away of its powers for some reason because the game doesn't tell you, and you're haunted by a voice of another in the name of Fabian, a detective who lives rent-free inside your head. It's somehow familiar, cyberpunk-ish. The world around you is falling apart because, climate change. Vampire clans are scheming. The centuries old masquerade is crumbling and humans are getting closer to expose everything. On paper, it sounds interesting enough to keep you going. A gothic, political thriller wrapped in a supernatural mystery first-person action RPG. I mean, this is good, right? What could possibly go wrong? But then you start to play it, and from the beginning, you are not welcome within combat, but more exploration and very much story. At least 1 hour of pretty much almost cutscene after cutscene. And then you get to realize that the story is a bit shallow and deeply fragmented. In the beginning, there are quite a lot of quests that require you to go from one location to the other, don't do much fighting, and just speak with a bunch of characters. This goes on for about 2 hours after I had one at best fight scene with a couple of guys where I was doing a bunch of sucking and stealthing, as the combat didn't feel that rewarding and the cutscenes were a bit on the boring side. The first hours of any game, no, the first minutes that might turn into an hour from any video game are absolutely crucial, because if you fail to hook the player at best in the first hour, well, you failed. Either the story is very gripping or the gameplay and combat is so amazing that you just want to stick around. But this being a AAA action RPG, you expect both gripping story with heavy hitting combat. But you get none of them.
I can't wait to pick your brain. In the best way, of course.
After about 8 hours of gameplay, I was still trying to figure out who my character really was or is and why I should even care. Mass Effect, all 3 video games from the first, second, and third. I'm not going to mention Andromeda. Within the first 10 minutes, you know exactly what's up, why are you playing, what is at stake, and you get lots of combat, so dynamic to keep you hooked. Same thing with every single Witcher video game, same thing with Cyberpunk, it just goes on and on. It has to be fast, it has to be good, and it needs to grip you. This is something that unfortunately Bloodlines 2 misses. The voice acting of pretty much all the characters, including the main one, doesn't help, especially Fabian's or Fabian, I don't know what his name is. It's dull, it leaves no tension or emotion, and it's always very conserving, if that makes sense. To the point where he's talking and is supposed to give you info about the quest, but you just feel like you're gonna fall asleep. It's not a hunting companion that's supposed to trigger you. He becomes background noise. You just start to tune it out. After about 8 hours, I was nowhere. And yeah, after the first, second hour, I realized this is a bit of a grind, but yeah, I kept with it. But after almost a day of playing, I'm like nowhere. And I was so very far away from my main character, knee deep in everybody else's side quest. But like, who's this main character? And I wasn't getting anywhere with what it might have felt like a, main mission. But what main mission? I just closed the game and I'm wondering to myself, what is the main mission in this video game? Combat. Well, it's a vampire video game. It's not Blood Rain. This is a different take. But yeah, I mean, you're kicking ass. This is where the illusion of being an ancient predator completely collapses. Within the first minutes, the game tells you that you are very important, OP, and nothing can stand in your way. You are supposed to be unstoppable creature, 1,000 years force of nature to be reckoned with, yet you die within seconds if you don't stealth perfectly. Stepping into the open combat and random human with a crowbar or baseball bat will definitely wreck you. I played a game on medium and I chose this class, which is heavily into action combat, fast-paced fighting. I feel like it's a vampire. I'm not gonna sneak around the entire video game. I'm going in, I'm kicking ass, I'm biting, sucking, and swallowing throughout this entire game. Nope. It punishes you, and if you don't do stealth, you're almost good as dead. To the point where I felt like I was playing Ubisoft's Splinter Cell, except I was a vampire Splinter Cell. Stealth doesn't become strategy here. That's the point that kind of bothers me the most about this. It's not a strategic move how you're gonna go about it. It's actual survival. And that kills completely the power fantasy. The mechanics are decent and the camera, responds and everything that hits. But the abilities that you get, even though you level up quite a lot, doesn't make you feel more stronger. They're there to help you out, but you still very much get wrecked. And you feel weak and very much vulnerable the entire time. Why am I weak and vulnerable when I'm killing a bunch of guys with baseball bats and I'm this super ancient vampire? Like, it don't make no sense. After about 4 hours, maybe less of gameplay, you start getting a ton of missions around the city, and one of the missions is time-based, forcing you to hit 3 different locations, and this gets repetitive, by the way. 3 different spots like the church, the cemetery, I don't know, some plaza, where you need to kill between 4 or 5 guys and move on, and you have almost 5 minutes to do it, which after about a couple of hours of gameplay and just a little bit of level up with 2 potions, you're not going to be able to do that mission. It's impossible to kill those guys so fast. You need to be careful what quests you take, and you will be actually doing a lot of talking again. You're getting XP from going from one location to another, and more immersing yourself in a ton of dialogue and what seems to be a bunch of choices that don't really make a difference into the world of vampire politics. Less fighting because you get your ass kicked, and more talking because nothing says an action vampire game like just a ton of dialogue.
I have no interest in you or your art.
Oh, I think a certain judge needs to unwind.
On top of that, the game from the beginning constantly limits you, and this was a choice by the devs or maybe the game director, I don't know. You'll find moments where jumping or any other type of movement is disabled completely for of lack of no reason, stripping away even the illusion of control here. You're not a vampire with, mighty forces. You're just a dude walking. And then there's the lack of NPCs. Well, the streets feel absolutely empty, and I do not understand why. Like, any Assassin's Creed video game. Again, Cyberpunk maybe. Why not? Grand Theft Auto. You choose the title. Just go bananas. There's more life that makes the city much more alive. Here, the city is completely sleeping, nothing happening, and I won't blame it on either the blizzard or the fact that it's nighttime, which is not always nighttime, but there's nothing going on in this city, and it's supposed to feel like modern city day whatever, but it feels again more LA noir. There's a feeling of oldiness to it. Walking around the city is not fun. Street dialogue repeats endlessly with the same goddamn random trigger dialogues like Oblivion NPC style, probably even worse than that. We're talking about stuff that we used to play back 15 years ago. They loop the same line over and over again without emotion, no or very little movement or purpose. Seattle feels empty and not a mysterious, haunting way, but in a where is everyone and everything type of way. Coming back to the main character, at the beginning, you get two choices. You want to play the girl or you want to play the guy, because I guess that's going to be different, right? Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you get Cassandra and Alexios, if I'm not mistaken. Two different characters, very good voice acting in that video game, two different play styles, and literally it makes you play the game again just so you can experience the other half. Here, I don't get it. I chose the female vampire because I was going Blood Rain in my mind. That was a mistake. Unlocking the clothes, you notice that your female doesn't look like a woman or a lady. It's very neutral gender-like. Every outfit is clearly designed for men. I'm not even kidding. Your lady vampire looks like a dude for the entire duration of the video game. I get the whole post-human, non-binary concept that maybe they're aiming for, but you could have added outfits that match a very fashionable female character. My vampire lady looks like a dude all the time, and even the haircuts, while they're slightly feminine, there's something very non-binary. Like, you know, a lesbian couple where you have the lesbian that's more of the guy and the lesbian that's more of the girl. Yep, your female vampire is the guy lesbian. I'm not having fun with that. That's not what I sign up for. I want Blood Rain. Can I get Blood Rain? Well, yeah, not in this title clearly, but I miss Blood Rain. Oh man, she sucked and she sucked good. Here, you're sucking, barely staying alive, and it's not fun. Now, I just gotta talk grinding for a second, coming back to the actual gameplay. Quests constantly fall back on the same pattern. You're constantly killing the same dudes over and over. Whichever way you look at it, there's no way to run away from stealth. Playing aggressively, immediately, absolutely, you will get destroyed. The game punishes you for coming out in open and strashing dudes, which as an ancient vampire you should be able to do. And the fact that I'm sucking constantly the same guys over and over and over is just, I'm not feeling it. There were boss fights, which they were fun, but other than that, it's like very generic. None of the things that I've said are ever going to be changed or fixed. That's just the video game. This is what you're paying for. What they could fix is probably, hopefully, the performance, because this is where things really start to bite, and it bites into your graphics card and in your CPU and everything else, because everything looks outdated. This is a GTA 5 with level of detail and graphics. Bloodlines 2 somehow is able to demand almost 11 gigs of video RAM in 2K with everything set to max, which I find insane. But Okay, I guess. Around 16 gigs of actual RAM, and it struggles. It doesn't like something because from 150 frames, depending on how you move and what happens, granted with no special effects on the screen, just you jumping up can take you from 150 to 20 frames. Yes, it creates a lot of lag and just an unpleasant experience. Nothing about this feels like a brand new next gen heavy hitter or something that you'd probably go, this game does not demand print screens or pictures or anything like that. There's not much to print screen. It's outdated. It feels 2015 or even less than that. It's not a good looker. It's a mediocre one. And it bothers me because it's so demanding. Like, you could go back to what? Lies of P? And that game is not demanding at all, but it looks amazing. Here, you kind of have the opposite. And speaking of 2025, I guess they were trying to release this in 2024. And the reason I'm saying this, within the 20 minutes or so when you start the game, during one of the cutscenes in the dialogue, the game or through dialogue presents itself as if 2024. And I'm guessing that's when they wanted to release it. But they failed, they delayed it, but they just haven't changed that part of the dialogue, which is, kind of lazy, breaks down the immersion. I guess it's, saving cost, money, and whatnot, but it felt a bit odd. There's definitely moments when the main character constantly has a line of dialogue, which I appreciated, saying, back off, do you know who you're dealing with? But everyone, and I mean everyone, just mistreating this vampire because they don't care about how old you are and they clearly know that you're lacking powers and you're just a lackey, and everyone's saying, hey man, step off. Like, this is not your turf. No one is impressed by you. The politics, the people around the politics, all the other vampires, and especially the bad guys. The bad guys are very, very not impressed by you. You're more of a joke than anything.
Benny, all I need is one excuse.
You'll need more than that.
In the end, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 isn't haunted necessarily by vampires. It's haunted by the ghost of what this could have been. There's so much potential, a deep lore. It stands on the shoulder of something quite great, a world of politics, which brings me back to Witcher, the tragedy itself of immortality, but it never awakens. The story is on a thin side when you hear all of those dialogues and all of that writing, hours upon hours of dialogue. The world feels like it's supposed to be somewhat something great, but it's just dead. There's not much happening. I mean, if you're a longtime fan of the Masquerade, this is definitely still worth exploring, and you don't need this review or any review. You probably already picked it up. If you need a solid vampire game, well, there's absolutely nothing out there. There's like on an entire Steam library, there's nothing. It's this one, a vampire game that takes itself seriously, AAA, that's supposed to be the one. And yeah, you're probably gonna purchase it because what else are you gonna play? Like, man, I want a game that's super good, action-packed, vampire. Well, this is the one because it's unfortunately the only one. At least single player gaming at this level, it's all about hopping in and immersing yourself. Because you want to feel like an ancient, badass vampire, unstoppable creature of the night, and you'll end up feeling very human. This is a solid 6 out of 10. A game that sucks, but never truly bites.